Hello. Sorry I'm slightly late. It's just been one of those days. Right. Okay, let me just catch up on chat, because lots happened. Right. Okay, hi to Raina. Hi to Ray. You are spring cleaning. Good, good. Proud of you. Hi to Sir Khalid. Ray got bull sports as a genre. I love that. Hi, Leaky. Ray is not happy about getting bull sports. Ray is 81% likely to cause chaos. Fair. Fair, fair, fair. Leaky's random genre is Zelda. And yes, we are talking the game series. You got one of the new ones. And 86% chaos. Okay, I should probably tell you about what we're playing today. And then we can proceed. So, I went and picked a bunch of random games to install this morning. Because I'm like, shit, I haven't sorted out stream. So we get randomness today. Starting with Dagon, the complete edition. Which is HP Lovecraft. So some creepy horror stuff, which looks interesting. Honestly, you know, we're just gonna go with it and see where we go. I'll feel free to look. No worries, Ray. You look. We're good. So yeah, starting with Dagon, the complete edition. Published by Fairdemic, developed by BitGolem, released on October 10th, 2024. Yes, I know. It's an ID at Xbox game, so thank you to ID at Xbox for this one. I'm late in playing this. It's also on PlayStation and Switch, and I think the non-complete edition is on Steam and has DLC. So, yeah. Came out on consoles at the same time. Price-wise, looking at £8.39 or $9.99 on Xbox. It has 11 achievements. They're all obtainable. And yeah, immerse yourself in the twisted world of H.P. Lovecraft. I mean, I'd rather not, but hey. And Havor, right, let me just switch over because I guess there's going to be some redeems happening and we need to be on the screen that does the sounds. But also, hi, I am mostly distracted. As always, it's just, yeah. And I don't know what I'm playing today, so we've just gone over to the alt. Because then I don't have to worry about anything. I think the voiceover should be more than the sounds. I'd like to hear the people's. Other. We will not be inverting. Show trivia. Ooh, yes please. Autoplay? Feels lazy. Alright. Okay. Have I told you everything about the game that I usually do? If anyone has any questions, just let me know. Otherwise, hi everyone. Yeah. We had a really productive morning, but it disappeared really quickly, hence the just finishing lunch right before stream. At least I brushed it, but my hair is a mess. I'm a mess. I'm Joe. Hi, right, let's just start. Dagon is a faithful interactive adaptation of H.P. Lovecraft's work focused on story and atmosphere. You will not find difficult choices, action sequences, or inventory management here, and movement is limited to progressing through locations along with the plot.
I am writing this under an appreciable mental strain, since by tonight I shall be no more.
Okay, right, that was a voiceover and it was bleeding. Okay, that should fix the sound balance. Also, sorry, giant fingerprint. I'm in my glasses. Don't know how I always manage to do that right before stream and then I'm like, I can't see. But also, hi, happy weekend. It's Saturday. I'm fairly certain it's Saturday. I hope you all are doing at least okay. And, you know, we have a few games we'll play for, you know, a bit, see where we are and move on as needed. There is no structure or sense necessarily today. we're just gonna go for it. Yeah. I'm just, like, I got distracted, like, halfway through my morning routine. And I really, really, really have no idea if I got everything done. But I feel good, so I think we're okay. And I guess I'll just check in with myself after stream to see if I did everything and what I need to do. What there's left to do. I haven't looked at this week's codes yet for ID. So all of these are pretty much old games that I have left. And don't feel guilty about because, well, we had a huge backlog. We are clearing the backlog quite... Oh my god, hang on. Jesse just reached a 410 stream streak. So, hang on, let me just finish my thought about the backlog and then I will pause and marvel that. We are clearing the backlog faster than it is growing. So we have succeeded in reducing it by about 10% based on the fact we get new games each week as well. So we've made good progress. We should be in a good position by the end of this year at least, and hopefully we'll have maybe even caught up. And wow, Jesse just did a whole bunch of stuff. So yes, 410 streams. That is an impressive stake. Notwithstanding the fact that Twitch, like, until very recently, you know, you missed a stream, your streak broke. It didn't always count the streak. That is just impressive in itself. But the dedication of having my stream up and it registering for 410 streams. If that was a stream a day, that is over a year's worth, but I don't do a stream a day. I do like 4 or 5 a week. So, yeah. It's like 100, it's like 2 years? 2.5 years? I'm trying to do maths and don't know what maths I'm doing, so I'm just going to go with... That's really impressive, Jesse. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your patronage, I guess is probably a good word. What also you got... You're an MMO. Oh, Leaky got Zelda. That would have been a good one for you. And also, hi, Elcash. So, yeah. I'm hoping no one hit a milestone Chivo thing, because I haven't sorted those out yet. Because I've missed the numbers. But yes, hello. And also, I should probably see what I am and progress to the next page. I am a motocross. Okay. I feel like I'm as disgusted by that as Ray was with the bull sports. Also, Mr. Colas, thank you so much for the raid. Hang on, I've got 2 of me open now. Wow, also emotes are raining. Okay, right, we don't have 2 of me open now. Let me just do shout out. Where's my Mr. Corners button? Mr. Corners button. Oh, nope. Right, I found my button as someone else did it. So we got like 2 shout outs. Thank you, Leaky. And also thank you, Mr. Corners, for the raid. House Flipper 2. Yes, I was watching that earlier. Just I didn't say hi because I was getting distracted. But it looked fun. I'm not sure the House Flipper games are my sort of game, but it looked like you were having fun. So hopefully you did, and welcome in raiders, which include myself, which is always weird. So yeah, hi, I'm Joe. I'm very distracted. And yeah, I pressed A and it didn't... Ah, right, okay. During the game, you will encounter interactive elements. Some of them continue, some got facts, some trivia. Ooh, okay. You got card and board. It was good. I'm glad you had fun. Don't follow Mr. Corners twice. It won't end well. Yeah, if you click follow and then click follow again, it will unfollow, and that is a bad thing to do. But anyway, I don't think 2 shout-outs is a bad thing. But yes. So let's see what my chaos is today, because you know, if it reflects 84, that feels right. I mean, I feel like I'm also at like 200, but yeah. Anyway, facts. Okay. Hello.
Penniless, and at the end of my supply of the drug which alone makes life endurable, I can bear the torture no longer. and shall cast myself from this garret window into the squalid street below.
Okay. Hi, Nobles. I mean, if Mr. Coolness was not talking, and then you suddenly went into me talking at, like, 1,000 miles an hour, I can understand the confusion. But welcome, welcome, welcome. So if you're not familiar with H.P. Lovecraft, he himself was not a good person, but as he's dead, he can't do anything to fix the things. My brother's trying to ring me. It's like it's after 3, Tim, on the weekend. I can't talk right now, I'm streaming. So, yeah, what was I saying? Oh, yeah, H.P. Lovecraft. Terrible person, but he's dead, so he can't fix that. So with the dead people, we separate the work from the author. The work itself is really freaking creepy and possibly vaguely depressing, but I picked random games for today, and this is what we've got.
Do not think from my slavery to morphine that I am a weakling or a degenerate.
I'm sorry, I just messaged my brother quickly. Yeah, silly brother indeed. Yes, clearly he should know my routine. It's not like I changed my routine. Also, I'm sad because I probably would get to talk to my nibblings, but also I'm streaming and I can't stop now. I already started late. Okay.
When you have read these hastily scrawled pages, you may
very
guess,
dramatic,
though
this guy.
never fully realize, why it is that I must have forgetfulness or death.
Cake or death? Cake or death? No, forgetfulness or death. Okay, so... Ooh, we have... There. Ooh! We have a fact. Morphine. Which is about morphine. It's the first piece of trivia. Entered into use in the 19th century. Used to treat severe pain. Sold without restrictions until 1914. More popular after the invention of the syringe. Originally named it morphium. So Frederick Sertuna. No, that's probably more German than what I just did there. But anyway, Friedrich Sertuna, who first isolated the substance, originally named it morphium, after Morpheus, the Greek god associated with dreams. At the time when Dagon was published, morphine abuse, known as soldier's disease, already posed a big problem in the US. Sorry. Brother wanted to talk mum birthday presents because, of course, we're all totally organised in this family, but it's mum's birthday next weekend, and I am actually organised and have stuff sorted. But yeah, for once I am organised. But yeah, that's why I'm not streaming next weekend, which hopefully is on my schedule. I need to update that if it's not. So yeah, no stream next weekend. This weekend we have stream, but yeah, going home for mum's birthday. We've got a party and everything. It's a big number. Well, it's a round number, hence the party. Oh god, I really wish I could turn that off. I get it. I keep on getting told that if I gift more subs to my own channel, I will get a badge. It's like, I don't need any more badges. It's my channel. I really wish I could tell it to stop bugging people about buying subs, because, I wish wish there was a better way to to sort of get emotes, really. Maybe I need to just cycle my follower ones, because, you know, I feel like if you want to, like, sub, you should just, like, donate the money to Extra Life, and then you get games. But anyway, okay, I can read it immediately, which I did, or turn them off later. No, I'm fine with finding trivia and it telling me about them. Okay, so let's continue. Jeff wants another yacht.
It was in one of the most open and least frequented parts of the broad Pacific that the packet of which I was supercargo fell a victim to the German sea raider.
I think we're still talking about morphine. Anyway. I'm getting majorly distracted. Come on, give us the fish people and the weird
The Great War
nonsense.
was then at its very beginning, and the ocean forces of the Hun had not completely sunk to their later degradation.
I mean, some people use their tokens, Jesse. Some people. Some people. Many people don't use them, and then it's like, oh my god, I have to then keep track of what's not used and what we've got in the list and how much I can then, and then people don't use them, and it's like, ugh. It's fine, obviously. If you just want to donate, you don't have to have the tokens. I like, you know, rewarding people, but yeah, I just expected there would be more people wanting free games. Well, you know, especially with like the dailies, those are legit free games. Maybe I'm just going about it wrong. I'd be curious to know why people don't really. Maybe I should do a poll. Because if it's hard for you to figure out how many you have, then there are ways around that. If you just forget you've got them, then that's fine. And if you don't want to use them, that's also fine. But I just feel like there are some people that like enter giveaways for games, have tokens, should spend. Stressful to redeem. I mean, well, yes, if you're redeeming like 500 at a time, maybe maybe it's a case of, you know, couple at a time, and that's easier. But you know, fair on the feedback. But I'd be like, well, just, you know, it only breaks if you are doing it in bulk, honestly, because I've tested this. If you just do like, you know, a couple a week, then it shouldn't be a problem. But I guess, you know, you want to review the whole list and sort it out all in one go. But we can come to an arrangement around that if that makes it easier. Can always generate you a spreadsheet and then, you know, keep track. Something like that. Anyway, let's
So that
continue.
our vessel was made a legitimate prize, whilst we of her crew were treated with all the fairness and consideration due us as naval prisoners.
Yeah, I mean, that works. I mean, it'd be nice if you were going to stream some of them as well, then they don't cost tokens. But if it's easier for you just to, you know, redeem them and then choose, then that's also fine. I'm not following this, but it's fine. Oh, we have some trivia. The Huns! Something Huns. It feels like it's a vaguely... Oh, it was a synonym for Germans? Oh. But I thought the Huns were... Yeah, they were Central Asian. Okay. Ah, fair enough. Okay, I was wondering if it was the bad word. Yeah, no, that's fine, Jesse. I mean, you do you, but if I can make it easier, let me know.
So liberal, indeed, was the discipline of our captors, that 5 days after we were taken, I managed to escape alone in a small boat with water and provisions for a good length of time.
You see, there is a portion of H.P. Lovecraft that is like a detective-y thing, and there's a portion that involves fish people. This particular story is not really holding my interest. So, you know.
When I
Could always
finally
try one of
found
the
myself
DLCs.
adrift and free, I had but little idea of my surroundings. Never a competent navigator, I could only guess vaguely by the sun and stars that I was somewhat south of the equator.
I mean, it's the middle of the night.
Of the longitude, I knew nothing, and no island or coastline was in sight.
Oh, and considering how many we have, talking about giveaways, let's run one. May as well actually, you know, make use of the buttons that I put in to make it easy. Where are we going? Where's the next interaction point? But yeah, it's all bot managed, so... Ah! There we go. It's over on the moon.
The weather kept fair, and for uncounted days I drifted aimlessly beneath
It sometimes
the scorching
batches them,
sun,
by the way.
waiting either for some passing ship or to be cast on the shores of some habitable land.
If we meet the fish people.
But neither ship nor land appeared, and I began to despair in my solitude upon the heaving vastness of unbroken blue.
It's a nice colour blue, but
The
yeah,
change
because you can't
happened
drink
whilst I
salt
slept.
water. Is this going to be a
Its
fish people
details
story?
I shall never know, for my slumber, though troubled and dream-infested, was continuous.
Hey, horror! Ah. Oh, now we get some horror. When horror appears. Ah! Perfect. I am so sorry it took me so long, Mr. Cornus. As I said, it's been a month and a week. But
When
yes.
at last I awoke,
I hope you enjoy.
it was to discover myself half sucked into a slimy expanse of hellish black mire, which extended about me in monotonous undulations as far as I could see,
I mean, we have tentacles, you know.
and in which my boat lay grounded some distance away. Though one might well imagine that my first sensation would be of wonder at so prodigious and unexpected a transformation of scenery, I was in reality more horrified than astonished. For there was in the air and in the rotting soil a sinister quality which chilled me to the very core. The region was putrid with the carcasses of decaying fish and of other less describable things which I saw protruding from the nasty mud of the unending plain.
I mean, this is probably as horror as Lovecraft gets. It's more psychological than gory type thing. He doesn't like his fish people. And as many tentacled gods. I mean, that's where Cthulhu came from. Also, don't worry, no pulse. You will have entered. The bot just batches them if 2 people enter in succession. But it is registered as long as you did the right hashtag, which it looks like you did. So yeah.
Perhaps I should not hope to convey in mere words the unutterable hideousness that can dwell in absolute silence and barren immensity. There was nothing within hearing, and nothing in sight save a vast reach of black slime. Yet the very completeness of the stillness and the homogeneity of the landscape oppressed me with a nauseating fear. The sun was blazing down from a sky which seemed to me almost black in its cloudless cruelty, as though reflecting the inky marsh beneath my feet.
Yeah, I read I think my friend Daisy had like the illustrated stories of Lovecraft, which I proceeded to consume over the space of about a week after we'd played like the H.P. Lovecraft version of like the Sherlock game. And I have more knowledge about H.P. Lovecraft than I ever possibly wanted. But for some reason, I'm always drawn to like redeem the games. Ooh, The Origins of Dagon. Dagon seems to be inspired by Fishhead, a short novel by Irvin S. Cobb about unnatural affinities between a hybrid idiot and the strange fish of an isolated lake. And also Lovecraft's Dream about a strange island. So this is the fish people. I don't remember the names of things, so yeah. But there was also like a Lovecraftian Sherlock, and also was it Frogwares that did Sinking City as well. I don't know, I think the Uncanny Valley fascinates me, and then I'm always sort of disappointed by the actual game. Fish people are in Innsmouth, that's it, yes. Innsmouth. Yeah, as I said, terrible with names. And relating those names to the thing that they're related to. Hence calling them the fish people. I'm sure they have a proper name. There we go. And then there's some more stuff, which I'm not going to read out loud because I feel like we need to at least continue. Ooh, he didn't like that squelchy noise.
Into the stranded boat, I realized that only one theory could explain my position. Through some unprecedented volcanic upheaval, a portion of the ocean floor must have been thrown to the surface, exposing regions for which innumerable millions of years had lain hidden under unfathomable watery depths.
Yeah, I think I've ended up with like 2 copies of Sinking City. One, there was a whole publisher thing, and then a definitive edition and a multi-platform. I don't know. Frogwares do good games. Beyond the Wall of Sleep. I don't know if I've read that one. The King in Yellow fascinates me. And the professor, whose name escapes me. There was a whole bloody game about him. And when I say game, I mean an actual board gamey game where you have to like figure out the mystery by looking up things in a book, which Daisy always did because I can't just look at the one entry. But there was a professor. It may or may not have been in Innsmouth. Anyway, if it'll come to me, I will say. No, not that game. When I say detective-y game, I mean detective-y game. Which I'm fairly certain Arkham Horror is not. It was played with, like, there was a book, and that's why I said it was like a Sherlock-y. I've played a Sherlock game of similar, where you have to try and figure out the thing quicker than what Sherlock did it. Has multiple, like, case files, but the one reference book, and you go visit, like, places in the book to find out information. Not choose your own adventure, but because it's more board gamey, but there may be pieces. But what's the name of the freaking professor? Wonder if I can just Google and get something. 1 second, because it's going to bug me otherwise. Okay, just give me 30 seconds. It's not the Innsmouth case. Because that's freaking Steam game. Board game. Board game! Miskatonic University. That is definitely key. Hi, Bilius. Not Arkham. But yeah, Miskatonic is ringing bells, but... Is it that? No. No, not that. I could ask my friend, but it's not really important. Okay. Alright, give me 30 more seconds. God, there's a lot of Cthulhu Lovecraft themed versions of other games. It's like, no, I don't mean Munchkin Cthulhu or Pandemic Cthulhu. No, I'm gonna have to ask my friend. Anyway, the point is something. Miskatonic University, professor. Board game that comes with a book. But anyway.
So great was the extent of the new land
good.
which had risen beneath me that I could not detect the faintest noise of the surging ocean, straining my ears as I might.
That is not ringing a bell.
Nor were there any seafowl to prey upon the dead things.
Not ringing a bell, sadly. I don't think it had Cthulhu.
For several
necessarily
hours
in
I
it.
sat thinking or brooding in the boat, which lay upon its side and afforded a slight shade as the sun moved across the heavens. As the day progressed, the ground lost some of its stickiness and seemed likely to dry sufficiently for travelling purposes in a short time.
It looks squelchy.
That night I slept but little, and the next day I made for myself a pack containing food and water, preparatory to an overland journey in search of the vanished sea and possible rescue.
I mean, I played it a good 5, 6, potentially years ago. Fairly certain I played it pre-pandemic. Yeah, fairly certain it was pre-pandemic, so yeah. And it may have been out a while at that point.
On the third morning, I found the soil dry enough to walk upon with ease. The odour of the fish was
How are you
maddening,
still alive?
but I was too much concerned with graver things to mind so slight an evil, and set out boldly for an unknown goal.
We're setting out boldly. Yeah, I don't like the squelchy noises.
All day I forged steadily westward, guided by a faraway hummock which rose higher than any other elevation on the rolling desert.
I really don't like the squelchy noise.
That night I encamped, and on the following day still travelled toward the hummock, though that object seemed scarcely nearer than when I had first espied it.
Oops.
By by the fourth evening, I attained the base of the mound, which turned out to be much higher than it had appeared from a distance. An intervening valley setting it out in sharper relief from the general surface. Too weary to ascend, I slept in the shadow of the hill. I know not why my dreams were so wild that night. But ere the waning and fantastically gibbous moon had risen far above the eastern plain, I was awake in a cold perspiration, determined to sleep no more. Such visions as I had experienced were too much for me to endure again. And in the glow of the moon I saw how unwise I had been to travel by day. Without the glare of the parching sun, my journey would have cost me less energy. Indeed, I now felt quite able to perform the ascent which had deterred me at sunset.
No worries, Leaky, have a good luck.
Picking up my pack, I started for the crest of the eminence.
Where's the interaction point? Picking up my pack. I should listen to the words better.
The unbroken monotony of the rolling plain was a source of vague horror to me.
Really not liking
But I think
squelch.
my horror was greater when I gained the summit of the mound and looked down the other side into an immeasurable pit or canyon, whose black recesses the moon had not yet soared high enough to illumine. I felt myself on the edge of the world, peering over the rim into a fathomless chaos of eternal night. Through my terror ran curious reminiscences of Paradise Lost.
I think I found it. It's called Mythos Tales. Inspired by Sherlock Holmes, the consulting detective. I don't like the squelchy noise. Right. That was the game I was thinking of.
And of Satan's hideous climb through the unfashioned realms of darkness. As the moon climbed higher in the sky, I began to see that the slopes of the valley were not quite so perpendicular as I had imagined.
Yeah, Sherlock Holmes, the consulting detective, there was it was a similar sort of style that came first. I played that many moons ago in Scotland. And then Mythos Tales was one my friend picked up because we like playing like escape, detective-y, adventure-y type board games. Anything that sort of, solve a mystery, escape a room, that sort of thing. So I've played a lot of them.
Ledges and outcroppings of rock afforded fairly easy footholds for a descent, whilst after a drop of only a few hundred feet, the declivity became very gradual. Urged on by an impulse which I cannot definitely analyze, I scrambled with difficulty down the rocks and stood on the gentler slope beneath, gazing into the Stygian deeps, where no light had yet penetrated. All at once, my attention was captured by a vast and singular object on the opposite slope, which rose steeply about 100 yards ahead of me. An object that gleamed whitely in the newly bestowed rays of the ascending moon. That it was merely a gigantic piece of stone, I soon assured myself, but I was conscious of a distinct impression that its contour and position were not altogether the work of nature. A closer scrutiny filled me with sensations I cannot express.
Closer look and scrutiny.
For
because
despite
the
its enormous
arrow was
magnitude
not visible.
and its position in an abyss which had yawned at the bottom of the sea since the world was young, I perceived beyond a doubt that the strange object was a well-shaped monolith.
Yeah, there's something about, like, Sherlock and Lovecraft, like, strangely compelling stories. Though, like, the original sources don't always hold up to the massive, effectively fan-like exultation from fanboying that has been done since, compared to some of, other stories that are even better and yet lapse into obscurity because a white man didn't write them.
Whose massive bulk had known the workmanship and perhaps the worship of living and thinking creatures. Dazed and frightened, yet not without a certain thrill of the scientist's or archaeologist's delight, I examined my surroundings more closely. The moon, now near the zenith, shone weirdly and vividly above the towering steeps that hemmed in the chasm, and revealed the fact that a far-flung body of water flowed at the bottom, winding out of sight in both directions and almost lapping my feet as I stood on the slope. Across the chasm, the wavelets washed the base of the Cyclopean monolith, on whose surface I could now trace both inscriptions and crude sculptures.
Yeah, but I feel it's also been given a lot of credit that was not earned. And that had, it's like science fiction was invented by a woman, yet she doesn't get credit for it. So, yeah. I feel like he's very overrated and was a terrible person and does not deserve the adulation. Some of his stories are strangely compelling, but honestly, this one, But we're persisting because I feel like
a system of
3 games today feels right.
to me, and unlike anything I'd ever seen in books.
Looks like seashells, me.
Consisting for the most part of conventionalized aquatic symbols such as fishes, eels, octopi, crustaceans, mollusks, whales, and the like. Several characters obviously represented marine things which are unknown to the modern world, but whose decomposing forms I had observed on the ocean-risen plain. It was the pictorial carving, however, that did most to hold me spellbound.
Aha! Storytelling methods. Dagon contained many themes and storytelling methods that Lovecraft developed in his later works, such as telling the story through carvings. Ah, the Nameless City. That's one that rings a bell. The journals and characters' notes. Islands emerging from the ocean. Yeah, Cthulhu. Or fictional beings and deities based on real events and mythologies. Yeah, he was not the first to, talk about these things. It's also considered the origin of the popular Cthulhu mythos. Some of Lovecraft's other stories also conclude in a manner similar to Dagon, but let's skip the details in order not to spoil the ending. I don't actually know how long the section is.
Visible across the intervening
we got very
water,
distracted
on
at the
account
beginning.
of their enormous size, were an array of bas-reliefs whose subjects would have excited the envy of a doré. I think that these things were supposed to depict men, at least a certain sort of men.
The fishmen!
Though the creatures were shown disporting like fishes in the waters of some marine grotto, or paying homage at some monolithic shrine which appeared to be under the waves as well. Of their faces and forms I dare not speak in detail, for the mere remembrance makes me grow faint. grotesque beyond the imagination of a Poe or a Bulwer. They were damnably human in general outline, despite webbed hands and feet, shockingly wide and flabby lips, glassy, bulging eyes, and other features less pleasant to recall. Curiously enough, they seemed to have been chiseled badly out of proportion with their scenic background, for one of the creatures was shown in the act of killing a whale, represented as but little larger than himself. I remarked, as I say, their grotesqueness and strange size, but in a moment decided that they were merely the imaginary gods of some primitive fishing or seafaring tribe. Some tribe whose last descendant had perished eras before the first ancestor of the Piltdown or Neanderthal man was born.
It looks surprisingly fresh for something that's supposedly ancient.
Awestruck at
But that
this
is a game.
unexpected glimpse into a past beyond the conception of the most daring anthropologist, I stood musing whilst the moon cast queer reflections on the silent channel before me. Then, suddenly, I saw it. With only a slight churning to mark its rise to the surface, the thing slid into view above the dark waters.
Oh no. Good thing! Oh god, that is ginormous.
Loathsome. It darted like a stupendous monster of nightmares to the monolith, about which it flung its gigantic scaly arms, the while it bowed its hideous head and gave vent to certain measured sounds.
Woo.
I think I went mad then.
Trippy. I think a lot of his stories about people being mad. Descending into madness.
Of my frantic ascent of the slope and cliff, and of my delirious journey back to the stranded boat, I remember little.
I honestly don't know how this guy is still alive. Several days without food and water, and, you know, hallucinations make more sense. Delirium induced by dehydration.
I believe I sang a great deal
Or drinking salt
and laughed
water.
oddly when I was unable to sing.
Yeah, I really don't like squelchy noises.
I have indistinct recollections of a great storm sometime after I reached the boat.
Oh, well, you can drink rainwater.
At any rate, I know that I heard pearls of thunder and other tones which nature utters only in her wildest moods. When I came out of the shadows, I was in a San Francisco hospital, brought thither by the captain of the American ship which had picked up my boat in mid-ocean. In my delirium, I had said much, but found that my words had been given scant attention. Of any land upheaval in the Pacific, my rescuers knew nothing. Nor did I deem it necessary to insist upon a thing which I knew they could not believe.
Journalist. Lovecraft was a prominent figure in the world of amateur journalism. Howard. Oh, is the H in H.P. Lovecraft stand for Howard? I have never heard him referred to as Howard. So basically he started his own newspaper so he could write stuffs. Yeah.
Once I sought out a celebrated ethnologist and amused him with peculiar questions regarding the ancient Philistine legend of Dagon, the fish god.
Excuse me. Dagon was the main deity of the Philistines, worshipped throughout the Middle East as the ancient god of fertility and crops. In Hebrew, the word Dagon was a common noun for grain. Mesopotamia chose him as the patron saint of their war conquests. Also appeared as the judge of the dead in an Assyrian poem and an underworld prison warden in one of the Babylonian texts. He's often mistakenly taken for a fish god due to the wrong interpretation of his name, as in Hebrew the word dag means fish. but it says grain above. So yeah, in H.P. Lovecraft's work, Dagon is an underwater deity ruling over the deep ones. The deep ones, that's the fish people. A humanoid race with fish traits that reside in the oceans. He's worshipped by a secret cult called the Esoteric Order of Dagon. And then there's a whole thing with Innsmouth and like the people, basically humans mating with the fish people, and then there's some sort of weird ass hybrid thing going on, which is just vaguely incestuous and disturbing.
But soon perceiving that he was hopelessly conventional, I did not press my inquiries.
August Derleth and the Cthulhu Mythos. Publisher. He's surrounded by numerous controversies. One of the most questionable decisions involved introducing the good versus evil doctrine. He was a devout Christian to the Cthulhu mythos, which contrasted with Lovecraft's view of the world and his approach to cosmic horror. As a result, the author's works are often misunderstood and misrepresented in today's culture. It's also worth noting that Lovecraft was never really interested in creating mythology, and the term Cthulhu mythos was coined by Derleth after the author left the mortal plane. Yeah, I mean, you know, capitalism, right? Where's the... There we go. Where's the next little tiny thing? Really needs to be bigger. Okay, we've come over here. What do you want to show me? Oh. Alright. We're just pacing. That feels about right.
It is at night, especially when the moon is gibbous and waning, that I see the thing. I tried morphine, but the drug has given only transient surcease, and has drawn me into its clutches as a hopeless slave.
Surcease is a great word.
So now I am to end it all, having written a full account for the information or the contemptuous amusement of my fellow men.
Aha. Now we're ending it all. Okay. Alright, people. Do not do this. On Lovecraft and tobacco and alcohol, he hated tobacco, even though he used to smoke. To look like an adult. He quit as soon as he started wearing long pants. He had a very strong opinion about alcohol, as evidenced by his letter, dated 1928. Oh! He's never tasted intoxicating liquor and never intends to, having a strong aesthetic disgust at anything which blunts or coarsens the delicate natural equipoise of the evolved human intellect and imagination. Yeah, he does morphine. Potentially. And his was in favor of prohibition. I mean, not one of his most controversial things. You know, you do you, mate. I would argue that morphine
I ask myself if it could not all have been a pure phantasm.
Ooh, I think we're coming to the end.
A mere freak of fever, as I lay sun-stricken and raving in the open boat, after my escape from the German man of war.
Man of war, not the jellyfish.
This I ask myself, but ever does there come before me a hideously vivid vision in reply. I cannot think of the deep sea without shuddering at the nameless things that may at this very moment be crawling and floundering on its slimy bed, worshipping their ancient stone idols and carving their own detestable likenesses on submarine obelisks of water-soaked granite. I dream of a day when they may rise above the billows to drag down into their reeking talons the remnants of puny, war-exhausted mankind.
Really doesn't like fish. Those are some very, very anti-fish words. I question the use of slimy and reeking talons.
Of a day when the land shall sink and the dark ocean shall ascend amidst universal pandemonium.
Lol. I think there's a Doctor Who series that's kind of like that. The land between the land between the earth
The
and the
end
sea.
is near.
War between the land and the sea.
I hear a noise at the door, as of some immense slippery body lumbering against it. It shall not find me. God, that hand! The window! The window!
Very slow move. We're just gonna jump out the window. Yeah. Bye-bye. Squitch. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of squelchy noises. Thank you for playing. We hope you enjoyed immersing yourself in a little pool of cosmic horror. So, we did not get all the facts. Trivia thingies, and there are also 2 DLCs with facts. So we're not going to... Oh no, there's 3 DLCs. What the Moon Rising, The Little Glass Bottle, and Railway Horror. But we did the main game part of it, and we got 4 of the achievements. We could have gotten more had we found more trivia. But the Moon one doesn't seem to have trivia. So yeah, I feel like that's a really good place to stop this particular... Oops. I was trying to get it to scroll. To stop this particular part of the stream, and possibly even have a short break if we can run some ads. We've got 2 minutes, okay, before we can run ads. So, yeah. Not bad. It was a little slow going. We could have finished that much sooner had I not got massively distracted. But yeah, provoked some interesting conversations, I guess. Not particularly onerous. We'll probably play this one on main at some point, especially if something requires, you know, the particulars of the, what's the word I want? If it's some sort of, you know, competition that requires certain whatchamacallits. Yeah, I mean, it says 1 to 2 hour completion estimate. We took an hour to do the main story, but as I said, we got massively distracted, which is normal for me. Yeah, I mean, if you put the story on autoplay and do better looking for the trivia than I did, then yeah, more easily completable. But you know, it was enjoyable, one might say. Certainly, you know, we did do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to end this section of the stream by putting up the ending soon and saying thank you to ID at Xbox for the code for this game, and then we're going to go into the break, and we'll switch games when we get back. But thank you for watching so far. We are still running a giveaway. I'll probably end it at some point during the next game. So if you haven't entered, then #win to enter for some tokens to get games off the list. If you have already entered, you don't have to enter again. Okay, cool. All right, we're going to go into a break now. I'll see you in a few minutes.